So good evening, everyone. Mm, Again, we will start like usual, watching your breath mindfully for a few moments to quiet and settle down your mind. Then we can try to have good right motivation by thinking the meaning of my life is to be as much help as possible to other sentient beings, all kind mother sentient beings. And even though there are so many different ways we can be health beneficials, the greatest help and benefit we can do is to help them to free themselves from their own afflicted emotions, all the obscurations, which are the roots of all their problem, suffering, pain. And to be able to help them not only to achieve temporary happiness, but to help them to achieve true, lasting, ultimate happiness of fully awakened state. And to be able to help them to do that with our own direct experience, we ourselves first need to achieve that fully awakened state as quick as possible. Therefore, I'm going to put all the effort to achieve that fully enlightened state. And to achieve that fully awakened state, I need to actualize the 5 paths and bhumis. And to do that, I need to practice, contemplate, meditate correctly, continuously. And for that, I need to be reminded of the practice. I need to continue to study, learn, and practice. Therefore, I'm going to listen to the teachings. And I'm going to apply as much as possible in my everyday life whatever I find helpful and beneficial in the teachings. Okay? Yeah.
Let's start with the prayers. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all three ever devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms atoms, in all aspects. With supreme faith, I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Part the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on the mass of Vulture's Mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara: how should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Kayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisattva. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. A short mandala offering. Sajiputi Jukshi Taking refuge in generating bodhicitta, once in English and twice in Tibetan. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Churam Sogi Chonam Ha Chamju Pardo Dane Gyatsu Chi Dagi Chunyin Gibe Sonam Gi Jola Penche Sangye Jupa Sho Sangye Churam Sogi Chonam Ha Chamju Pardo Dane Gyatsu Chi Dagi Chunyin Gibe Sonam Gi Jola Penche Sangye Jupa Sho. So I think, did we finish the verse number 20 last time? I think maybe we finished 19 and 20. Is that what it is? I think maybe we 18 and 19. I think maybe we were on the 20.
Is that the one? So anyway, the previous verses, he explained, Lama Tsongkhapa explained, the Buddha you taught, dependent arisings and emptiness are not contradictions, but they supplement each other. And so, just as we just recited Heart Sutra, where it says, form is empty. So, form is empty of inherent existence. But that doesn't mean form is non-existence or form is there's nothing. Emptiness is form. Because form is empty of inherent existence, therefore, form is possible. Because of it is empty of inherent existence, therefore, is not independent existence. And therefore is dependent arising. And since it's a dependent arising, due to certain cause and conditions, then certain result is produced, and that function as the function of the form, and therefore that is why the form is possible. Therefore, the form exists and functions as a form. And form is not other than emptiness, emptiness not other than form. And those two, form is empty. The ultimate reality and emptiness form, the conventional reality, those two realities do not contradict each other, but actually this support and they support each other, complement each other. The same is explained by the Nagarjuna, in his fundamental treatise, where he says, whatever the dependent arising is taught as an emptiness, and that is designated by depending on others, and that is the middle way. And such is also mentioned by the Chandrakirti in his supplement to the middle way. Each phenomena has two reality, ultimate reality and conventional reality at the same time, simultaneously, so they don't contradict each other. He also, even though all the phenomena are empty of inherent existence, but from that emptiness, then everything appears, everything arises. And that is what makes everything to exist, to arise, to produce, is because they are empty of inherent existence. So I think that is more or less we discuss, and is here. She says, the Buddha who taught and spoke of that is the excellent speaker to our teachers. Verse number 20, all of this is devoid of essence, meaning devoid of existing from its own side. So all phenomena, everything is empty or devoid of existence from its own side or inherent existence. Even that is the case, and from this arise that effect. Even though they are empty of existence from its own side, but due to certain cause and conditions and factors, it gives rise to certain result, certain effect. And those two certainties complement each other with no contradiction at all, They don't contradict, but actually they support each other. And what is more amazing than this, What is more marvelous than this? If one prays you in this manner, this is the real praise, otherwise not. So, Lama Tsongkhapa was saying that you thought of that emptiness and dependent arisings, the functioning of cause and effect, they do not contradict, but they actually complement and support each other. Because of emptiness, it's dependent arising. It's dependent arising because it's empty. It's empty because it's a dependent arising. That is amazing, that no one has taught before. Because everything's empty of existence from its own side, therefore there's no object of grasping by the ignorance. The object of grasping ignorance is the object existing from its own side or inherent existence. When you understand and realize there's no inherent existing object or there's no object in its own side, then there is no object of the grasping of the ignorance. When there's no more object of grasping ignorance, there's no more ignorance because there's no object to hold and grasp on. While there is no object or existing from its own side and inherently, when you analyze, cannot find, or when you don't analyze in such a ultimate reasoning, but due to coming together of certain cause conditions, then there's certain result. Even though it is empty from its own side, even though it is empty of existence from its own side or inherent existence, but due to coming together of certain cause and condition, due to coming together of certain factors, conditions, certain result come into existence. Certain result is produced, and it affects differently. Due to coming together of certain cause and condition, it produces pain and suffering. Due to coming together of another cause and condition, it produces happiness. Different result. And those two reality exist simultaneously at the same time and within certain objects. And that is incredible. So therefore, because you understand the emptiness, there's no more grasping. And because you understand dependent arising, cause and conditions, therefore, you don't become careless and ignore your actions. Because you know each of your actions has consequences. So while not ignoring your actions at the same time through understanding emptiness, there's no more grasping. So that's why such teaching is amazing and marvelous. There's nothing more marvelous and amazing than that. So, and here Lama Tsongkhapa is saying, even though there are so many ways I can praise the Buddha, or others can praise the Buddha with different qualities. I can praise the Buddhas. You have all these enlightened major and minor marks. I can praise with all your incredible qualities of 60 melodies, sound of speech. I can praise you with all, your quality of your mind, bodhicitta and all of that, or your psychic powers, miracle and so forth. But praising by having understood directly and to share that knowledge and experience and the wisdom of dependent arisings is incredible, and there's nothing more better way to praise than that. And similarly, I think, okay. Similarly, Nagarjuna said in his commented about Siddha, having understood all phenomena emptiness, even though everything is emptiness, but from that emptiness, arising of the result by depending on cause and conditions, that is most amazing. That's most amazing, marvelous. And so similarly here. Then verse number 22, being enslaved by ignorance, those who fiercely oppose you, what is so astonishing about their being unable to bear the sound of no intrinsic existence? But having accepted dependent origin, the precious treasure of your speech, and then not tolerating the roar of emptiness, this I find amazing indeed. So Lama Tsongkhapa is saying, when you explain about emptiness, how everything is empty of inherent existence, how everything is empty of existence is on side, how everything exists empty of existence, intrinsic existence. Many of the teachers, earlier teachers or non-Buddhists, and their followers, they cannot bear that. They couldn't understand. They couldn't accept. They were unable to accept. They couldn't accept how everything is empty of inherent existence, how everything is empty of existence is on side. And I can understand that because of their philosophy, because of their belief, because of their ignorance, and because of their belief and system. I can understand why they couldn't accept that. I'm not astonished, I'm not amazed at that. And then that is the verse number 22. And verse number 23, where he said, but among some of the Buddhist school of thoughts or tenets, such as Babasika, Sotandrika, or even minority school, even though they accept and follow the Buddha, even though they accept and follow the Buddhas and Buddha's philosophy or the view that is the very heart of the Buddha's view or teachings, which the dependent arising. Even though they all accept that, even though they all accept dependent arising, all these different school of Buddhist school of tenets, even though they all accept the very heart of the Buddha's philosophy of the teachings, the dependent arisings. Even they accept that, but they cannot tolerate or they cannot understand this roar of emptiness. They cannot accept and understand how everything is empty of inherent existence, how everything is empty of dependent, empty of existence on its own side, intrinsic existence. And Lama Tsongkhapa, I find very, very amazing, astonishing, that one. The very reason, the very logic, very reason that how everything is empty of inherent existence because of dependent arisings, why do you accept that, but not being able to accept the emptiness of inherent existence? Are we clear here? So that is where Lama Tsongkhapa said, I'm quite amazed with that. Actually, you should be able to accept how everything is empty of inherent existence and example its own side because you accept dependent arising. And since if it's dependent arising, there must be empty of inherent existence. There must be empty of existence on its own side. And so that is Lama Tsongkhapa saying, I'm a little bit confused, amazed and astonished. Not for the other school of thought, non-Buddhist school of thought, but for those, some of the Buddhist tenets, school of thought. So that is where Lama Tsongkhapa. And one of the masters said, it's like you are riding a horse and not being, you are riding a horse and looking for the horse. It's similar like that. You have the very reasons you have accepted the very reason to prove that is empty of inherent existence, but still you cannot understand that. Because dependent arising is the most powerful reasoning, logic to prove how everything is empty of inherent existence, like from its own side. You have found and you have accepted that the most supreme reason and logic, but at the same time, you haven't been able to use that reason and logic to understand emptiness or empty of inherent existence. You are still looking for another reason and logic. It's like you are on the horse, but you are trying to find for the horse. The door, the verse number 24, the door that lead to non-intrinsic existence, this unexhaled door of dependent origin. Through its name alone, if one grabs an intrinsic existence, Now these persons who lack the unrevealed influence, well traveled by the noble one, by what means should one guide him to the excellent path that pleases you? So the door or the method, the supreme method, supreme way to understand emptiness of inherent existence or intrinsic existence is dependent arisings, dependent originations. That is the supreme reasoning, logics. It's the supreme method of way to understand the emptiness, empty of inherent existence. That is the supreme method. But again, those who believe those school of kindness, instead of proving dependent origination, why things are empty of inherent existence, because of dependent origin, then they grasp the object to exist inherently. Do you get it? It's the opposite. As we mentioned before, they believe all these objects exist from its own side or inherently because they are dependent arisings. They are because of dependent arisings. Therefore, they have grasping to the very method that should help you to let go of grasping. Do you get it? And so therefore, then they lose. Then in that cases, how can anyone be able to help them to travel on the path that was traveled by the noble ones? All the previous Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhat, by understanding the emptiness through the reasoning of logic or dependent arisings. And that dependent arising, that is the excellent path that pleased the Buddha, that Buddha show, even that, one cannot lead them to the door to the liberations, by understanding the emptiness, because they have grasping to the very dependent arisings because of, that they, because of not understanding emptiness because dependent arising, but instead, grasping things are dependent arise, inherent existence because dependent arisings. Their 26 intrinsic nature, uncreated and non-contingent, dependent origin, contingent and created. How can those two converge upon a single basis without contradictions? So here, the Madhyamika school showing contradictions to the other school of thoughts. You say those things exist intrinsically, intrinsic nature or independent, inherent existence. At the same time, you say they are dependent origin. That cannot be possible. Those two are contradictions. If something is inherently existing, then it will be existence is on site, and that means, is uncreated, unchangeable. It becomes status. It becomes uncreated, unchangeable. Depend condition, other factors. Otherwise, it wouldn't be inherent. Otherwise, it wouldn't be existing its own side or by itself. So, therefore, on one hand, you said they are dependent arisings, and on another hand, you said they are inherently existing. That is contradictions. Because if it's inherent existence, it becomes non-created, not dependent on others. If dependent on origin, then it becomes dependent on others. And when it is something that's dependent on other cause conditions, then it means it can change. It can be created. So dependent origin and inherent existence is totally contradictions. Created, uncreated, and totally contradictions. Not dependent on others, conditions and factors, and depending on other countries, factor and condition, totally contradictions. Those cannot exist within single basis of objects. But that particular object is dependent arising, then it cannot be inherent existence. If that object is dependent on other cause and condition, other factors, because of that, it can be created, then it can't be static, uncreated, unchangeable, because of, and so that is where contradiction is being shown. In that case. And same, Nagarjuna also explained same thing in his fundamental treatise. Something that's inherent existence and something that's depending on other conditions is totally contradictory. And again, even when we analyze it is contradictory. How can something be depending on other factors, conditions, at the same time inherent existence? Or existing from its own side by its own power. It's not. Therefore, in verse number 27, whatever originates dependently, whatever originate or arise by depending on other conditions, by depending on other factors, and so forth, though primordially free of intrinsic existence. So, whatever is dependent arising, dependent origin, whatever is arising origin by depending on other factors, conditions, that phenomenon, that objects is free of inherent existence or is from the very primordially or from the very beginning. It's not that there was inherent existence before and then now it became non-inherent existence. For example, the cup is here now, and then due to certain cause and conditions, someone take away in the kitchen, the cup is no more here. It do not exist anymore here. It existed before, but then someone took it away in the kitchen and it is no more in this table. So they can be empty of many things which exist before, but due to certain cause and condition, it become non-existent in certain time, in certain areas. But the object being empty of inherent existence is not something like that. It has always been empty of inherent existence. There was not a time when it was not empty of inherent existence. Are we clear? That is the meaning of that. It has always been empty of inherent existence because it has always been dependent arising. So even though all phenomena and everything is empty of inherent existence, but due to not realizing the emptiness, due to the imprint or predispositions from our ignorance from the beginner's lifetime, when we look at the objects, when we see the object appears to exist inherently, existing from its own side. There is that appearance. Even though that is not how it exists, but there is that appearance. Why is there that appearance? Because of the imprint within our mental consciousness of the ignorance from the past. That is why, though primordially free of intrinsic existence, appear as it does possess intrinsic existence. To our consciousness, to our mind, whether it's our eye consciousness, ear consciousness, it is our nose consciousness, whether it is our tongue consciousness, whether it is our bodily consciousness, whether it's mental consciousness, when the object appear to those consciousness, the sixth consciousness, whatever that appear to us ordinary, it appear to exist from its own side, in hidden existence. Even though there is that appearance, but in reality, they do not exist inherently or from its own side the way it appeared to us. Therefore, so you thought all this to be illusion-like. And so therefore, Buddha taught all phenomena are like illusions. That is what it means. Buddha taught in many sutras, in many teachings, the Buddha said how everything is like an illusion. Everything is like a dream state. Everything is like a reflections of your face in the mirror. Everything is like a reflections of the moon in the still lake. He give all those different examples. Everything is like an echo of the sound in certain conditions. Everything is like a mirage. So those many different examples the Buddha gave in many sutras. And he gave those examples to understand the reality. Illusions is just a mistaken, it's a false. Illusions are false, example of false. What appeared in that illusion does not exist in reality that way. Do you get it? It is just a trick. By whatever trick, by whatever substance. Reality is something else, but you see something different because of certain cause and conditions, the trick, whatever it is used to trick you that. So it's an example of false, the false between the reality and the appearance. Same thing, the reflection of your face in the mirror. Even though it appears your face in the mirror, there is no real face in the mirror. It's just a reflections. But to us, it appears as though the face is in the mirror. Okay? But there's no real face in the mirror. It's just a reflections. So appearance and reality is different. Same thing, the moon, reflection of the moon in the still lake. Even though it appears the moon is there, real moon in the lake, there's no real moon in the lake. It's just a reflection of that. Mirage, same examples. From distance, due to certain conditions, it appears there is a water there, but there's no real water there. It's just an appearance of water due to certain conditions. So the appearance is water, but there's no real water there. Same with echo, of the sound. Due to certain conditions, you hear the sound coming from this thunder or this cave. But there is no real sound who's making sound here. The person who's making sound is the other side. It's just a reflections of that sound echoing. So all these different examples that Buddha used in different sutras, as also like that we recited at the end of the Heart Sutras, which actually come from not Heart Sutra, the Praise to the Buddha Shakyamuni at the end of that coming from one verses from the Diamond Katra Sutra. That verse is also where Buddha gave those examples. So, those all examples of false, which means the reality is something else, but there is appearance of something else. Same way, he gives those examples for us to understand how all phenomena, external, internal phenomena, all physical, non-physical phenomena, samsara, nirvana, all phenomena, even though they are empty of inherent existence, that is the reality. The reality, they all are empty of inherent existence, or existing its own side, because they all are dependent arisings from the very beginnings, or from the very beginningless time, even though they all are empty of inherent existence, because they are dependent arisings. Still, to our consciousness, it appears the objects inherently existing from our own, existing on its own side. And that appearance is false. Those appearance, the appearance of object to exist inherently from its own side is false. It's a false appearance. So therefore, you shouldn't believe in that appearance. By believing that appearance, you get decepted. You get misled. Because of that deceptions, then we have grasping. Because of the grasping, then we have attachment, anger, and all these other delusion arising because of that. Yes?
You said anger. What are feeling about our existence?
Mm-hmm. Well, here the question is, what about the feeling of our existence? Same thing, the feeling is also non-inherent existence. Of course, there's feeling, but still feeling is empty of inherent existence. Still feeling is dependent on arisings. Feeling arises because of many causes and conditions. If those causes and conditions stop, you wouldn't have the same feelings. I could have many different feelings, feeling of my existence, fear of my existence. Where does that fear come from? Because of many causes and conditions. When there is no more those causes and conditions, then I don't have any fear of my existence or non-existence. That fear of our existence or non-existence arises due to many other factors, due to many other causes and conditions. So that fear of our existence or non-existence do not arise by itself without depending on other factors and causes and conditions. Same thing, even we don't talk about fear, even this feeling of existence or non-existence, also it comes because of many causes and conditions. And since it depends on many causes and conditions, many factors, therefore even that feeling is not truly existing, no inherent existence. It's empty of existence, it's on site. So again, another thing is that we have to clarify, I think, because sometimes there is misunderstandings. When you talk about false appearance, when we talk about how everything is like an illusion, like a dead, it doesn't mean those objects do not exist, just as the feeling of existence, our existence. We are not saying there is no feeling of our existence. We are not talking about there is no lightning sound. Not saying there is no lightning because it's like illusions, because lightning like illusions, because lightning is like a dream. It doesn't mean that there is no lightning. What it means is the appearance and the way they exist is a different. So as we give examples, in the illusion, the magicians create some kind of object through their trick, and it appears something to us, which is not there, but it appears to us because of some trick. Even though there is no object the way it appears to us because it's just a trick, but still there is something. Do you get it? Still there is something, not the way it appeared to us, but there is something there. Same, even though there's no real face in the mirror, but there is a reflections. Do you get it? It's not saying there's no reflections. It is saying that there's no real face the way it appeared to us when you look in the reflections in the mirror. Same thing, it is not saying there's no reflection of the moon in the lake. There's the reflection of the moon, and that reflection does many functionings. It give more light to see things and so forth. But there's no real moon in the lake the way it appeared to us. Same thing when you dream something, someone trying to kill you. Even though there's no one really trying to kill you at that time, with the way it appeared in your dream, but there is a dream due to some cause and condition. There is a dream of that. So therefore, same way we have to understand when it is explained like an illusion, dream, the reflections and so forth, and try to explain false, what it is trying to show is there is a huge difference between the way thing exists and the way it appears. It's nothing, there is nothing existing there. There is something there, but it is not the way it appeared to us of mind. And so therefore that is again important to remember that. No, I think and so therefore once you understand it's a false, the appearance is false, then you don't believe that appearance. Because you understand that. When you understand that dream of someone trying to kill you is just a dream, it's just a false, it's just a dream, you don't have so much fear once you wake up from that dream. You don't have so much anger towards that person trying to harm you, trying to kill you. Why? Because you understood it's just a false. There is not really someone trying to kill you, trying to hurt you or harm you. It is just a dream. It was just a false. So then you don't have all this negative feeling towards that objects. Same thing in dream, you can appear, someone very attractive, beautiful, whatever, or whatever other objects that you are attached to, and in your dream you don't know it is a dream, and you believe that is true, and there's a sense of attachment, strong craving and attachments. And when you wake up, you recognize it is just a dream. There's no real object there. Once you understand it is just a false, there's no real object there, it's just a dream. When you understand that, then you don't have the craving, strong desire, attachment anymore. That is the way the key is to understand, so therefore understanding, mm. Mm. And so therefore, we try to remind ourselves, everything that appeared to us, we try to remind ourselves, this is just like an illusion. It is just like a dream. And the purpose of reminding ourselves and to have that understanding realizations is so that it doesn't make those negative emotions too strong. When I believe there's really something harmful, hurtful, danger, whatever object from its own side, when I believe that there is something from its own side inherently there, then I have stronger fear. I have stronger aversion, stronger anger in that. But when you realize, there's no real inherently existing or existing from its own side that way, even though it appeared to my mind that way, but there's no inherently existing from its own side that way, then you have less fear, you have less aversions, less anger. Even though there's nothing from its own side, but still there's something existing by coming to your many cause and condition and factor, and therefore you have to be more careful. Do you get it? Therefore you have to be more careful. Protect yourself. So while you try to protect yourself, take care of everything, but at the same time not allowing those negative emotions to be too strong by understanding that like a dream, they're like illusions, that they do not, even though there's that appearance, there's nothing existing from its own side. And same, also we try to do the same with any objects. And so that is the key. And so in that way, understanding, that there is nothing that exists from its own side in the way it appeared to us. At the same time, due to cause and condition, other factor, there's something there. So therefore, you you don't just lay yourself in the middle of highway and saying there's nothing exists. There's no car. There's no me. There's no road. Therefore, nothing will happen to me. You will be crushed. So even though there's appearance of inherent existing me, because of that we have strong grasping to it. Even though there is a strong appearance of inherent existing the road and the car and all of that, we try to see them non-inherent existing. They all are illusions. So we don't have strong grasping to any of that. While we understand truth, there is no more grasping. At the same time, we know there is cause and conditions. And due to certain cause and conditions, you can be run over, you can be hit. And so therefore, you try to protect yourself, take care of yourself and your actions. So it's the key to be able to see both of that. Do you get it? It is mentioned in many of the scriptures. When you have a direct realization of emptiness, and once you have direct realization of emptiness, and when you are in deep meditations on emptiness, meditative equipoise, and when you come out of that meditative equipoise or that deep meditation state, you don't have to remind yourself, but power of that practice and realizations, all the objects, when you come out of that meditation, all the object that is here, it appear to your mind. You know, these chairs will appear to your mind. All of you will appear to the mind. You know, the sound of the lightning will appear to your ear consciousness. You will hear that. You will smell the flowers. You will taste if you drink the tea, you will taste it. All of that, all these objects, even though it appear to your consciousness, those different objects resist consciousness, but they appear like an illusion, like a dream state for such practice when they are coming from that deep meditations. So you don't have to remind yourself it's like an illusion, it's like a dream. The object appears, everything appears your consciousness like a illusions. So therefore it is easier not to have grasping and clinging. But when you don't have that direct realizations, normally, you know, when you don't have those direct realizations, then when you try to meditate on emptiness, maybe in that one moment, when you are in meditations in emptiness, maybe you can let go of clinging and grasping to the objects in that moment. But when you come out of that meditations, how many ever seconds, minutes that you are able to stay in that state without clinging and grasping to the objects. But when you come, then you see all the objects and still it appears real, truly exists in inherent existence. So then again, clinging and grasping comes. So then in that cases, because it doesn't appear like a dream, like an illusion to us, so we have to remind, oh, even though it appears that it's not how it exists. They are like a dream, they are like an illusion. So we have to remind. So you try to alternately meditate on, you know, space like meditation, emptiness, space like emptiness meditations, and illusion like emptiness. During the meditation, you try to remain in space like emptiness as much as possible. meditating how everything's the self, the basis of self aggregates, your 5 aggregates, as well as all the objects that you enjoy, all the phenomena, objects, they all are empty of inherent existence. Try to meditate on that. Merely empty of inherent existence. Merely empty of inherent existence. And then when you come out of that meditations, post meditations, then you try to meditate on illusion like emptiness, reminding yourself how all the objects that appear as truly existence do not exist the way it appeared to my mind. That is how it exists in reality. So therefore, reminding ourselves all the time they are like illusions, and not believing the appearance of inherent existence, even though there is appearance. And why is there the appearance of inherent existence? Because again, due to not realizing the emptiness, due to the imprint from the past, the imprint, strong imprint of ignorance from the past is so strong. That's why there's that strong appearance. Anyone has any questions? Anyone on Zoom? Anyone has any questions so far?
I have a question, Geshe Sherab.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there's someone who has great hatred for another person, that means that they're grasping at a false appearance there. And because you can see they're grasping at a false appearance, that something that is not true, then that means you can have compassion for that person, because you can see that they're just operating under a delusion. Is that true?
Yes, of course. As I mentioned at the very beginning, as I mentioned before, when you believe, or when you feel something harmful, hurtful, bad, cruel, mean, whatever, when you feel it, if you believe that person is mean and cruel and unkind and harmful and hurtful from its own side or inherently, and you have strong dislike, strong aversions, and because of that strong grasping that there is inherently, or there is that person from his own side, from that objectively, from there, then of course you have a stronger aversion, you have stronger dislike and stronger anger, and definitely that, But when you understand, even though there's that appearance of that bad person from his own side, but when you realize there's no really bad person from his own side, there's no real bad person inherently from his own side objectively, then you have less stronger clinging, grasping to the objects. And due to that, there is less stronger aversion, dislike, and anger. And if you have less anger, less dislike, it's more easy to feel compassion. And if you practice compassion, then it is easy to feel compassion. When you have strong feelings of strong dislike and strong aversion and strong anger, even you try to feel compassion, it's much more harder to feel compassion. It's not enough. I need to feel compassion. I need to feel compassion. You can say that I need to feel compassion, but you cannot feel it because you have so much strong aversion, so much strong dislike, because so much strong anger. In order to feel the compassion, you have to reduce them. You have to let them go. And the way to reduce such strong aversion, dislike, and anger is by understanding the anger that arises, the dislike arises, aversion arises on the basis of belief there's a bad person from its own side. When you see there's no bad person from its own side, there's no object to hold on and cling on. If there's no object to hold on and cling on, then there's no reason to feel aversion on the basis of believing there's such objects. And so therefore, then definitely, then it becomes much more easy to feel compassions. Yeah.
Sherab, may I have a follow-up question?
Mm-hmm.
So, because of that, of what you said, is this one of the reasons why what the Buddha taught is marvelous and amazing?
Mm-hmm. Mm. And I think again, I think I have mentioned quite a few times, not necessarily this class, but in over the years, there are two different approaches among the bodhisattvas. The bodhisattvas, some bodhisattvas, the more what we call sharp faculty bodhisattvas. First, they have realization and emptiness, and through that realization and emptiness, then they develop true love, compassion, bodhicitta mind. So first they have the realization and emptiness, and then bodhicitta. And so the one we explain is more approach of that. First you have realization and emptiness, and then you develop bodhicitta mind. But there are certain bodhisattvas, we call not so sharp faculties, their approach is first cultivate the loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind, and after having developed the bodhicitta mind, then develop the wisdom. Maybe at the very beginning they have more difficult with understanding the emptiness and to have realizations, but they have a strong feeling of empathy, love, and compassion. So they work on that. And then with working with that love and compassion first, and through that, then cultivate the bodhicitta. And then, having that loving kindness bodhicitta, that creating enough merit, then something change. And then they are able to have, more better understanding of this emptiness and to have a realization. So there's two approach, but so I think it is not always just one approach. It depends on individuals, and even we don't talk of the bodhisattvas, even in, I see among the students or Dharma practitioners, some has no problem with understanding the concept of emptiness, and they are very excited and they really feel energized, enthusiasm on that. And when it comes to loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, they struggle a little bit. Not the understanding, but feeling that. But then there are other students or practitioners who have more easy and to feel compassion and loving kindness. They don't struggle. They feel more naturally, more easy for them. But then they struggle to understand the emptiness. So again, yeah. So just to mention, there is two approach both, but as we mentioned, definitely when we talk about the Buddha's teachings in general, we talk about all the Buddha's teachings in terms of actions and the view, and the actions of non-violence, loving kindness, compassions. And that actions of non-violence and compassion based on the view of emptiness, dependent arisings. And so in that point of view, then first, because of understanding of emptiness, dependent arising, because we all are connected, related, we not are isolated through that, then coming of loving kindness, compassion that comes. So from that point of view, definitely and therefore we can also say that is amazing as well. Yeah. Any other questions?
We have 2 more online if you don't have any in the Gompa. Geshe, could you unmute yourself, please?
Hello, Geshe.
Hello.
So my question is, so the wind that makes up our mind, or whatever it's called, that moves on to the next life, that is a result of our karma, is that, I don't mean permanent. I don't know how to describe it, but it's
Which one?
What is it?
What one?
The part of us,
wind.
the part of us that moves on to the next life and so on to work out karma. What is that? Thank you.
Well, that is also dependent arisings. That is also impermanent. Because even though it continues, is changing. Is not like it continues without any changes. You know, if it's like the river that flows from the mountains and that goes to the oceans, it's the same water, it's the same river, but it keep on changing. In some places, it is mixed with the red mud, it becomes red. In some places, there's the water become kind of red, muddy, and then some places there is a lot of leaves, and with that leaves, it changes the color, the taste, whatever of the water, and then again it passes through some hole, it become more clean. So it is the same, continue to the same water, but it keep on changing depending on other cause and conditions. And same is our karma or the mind, that the subtle mind that carry the karma is, even though it continues, but it keep on changing. You know, sometimes we have more imprint of negative karma, sometimes we have more imprint of positive karma, and some of the previous karma imprint in that consciousness have been clear, and so forth. So therefore, while it is continuing, but it keep on changing. So therefore, it's also still impermanent, and it is still dependent arisings. Did it answer your questions?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
Lorna?
Course, because of that, in some prayers or some teaching, sometimes they might use the term permanent also for that subtle consciousness. But then the reason they use permanent is because in terms of the continuity, it is always there, you know, from the beginner's lifetime, as long as endlessly. And that subtle consciousness or that subtle mind, the continuity is always there. Therefore, sometimes they use the word permanent in terms of having that continuity all the time. But even though there's continuity, the shape is keep on changing due to other conditions, therefore it's impermanent. And therefore, so yeah.
And
Then
if there's
was
not
there
a
any
question in Agampa, we have one more online.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes, Geshe, thank you so much. This is so interesting and exciting. I'm just wanting to get my head wrapped around the illusory nature of phenomena. So, is it because of impermanence? So, for instance, if I meet somebody and there's an interaction between us, and let's say I get harmed in that interaction because of the ripening conditions of our karma coming together and dependent arising with causes and conditions. Once that event happens, it's over, and then things change and shift and move on. So is that the illusory nature you're talking about?
Yes, we can talk about that. Yeah, we can say that is though change happening because of cause and due to certain cause and condition in the past. Certain events happen, certain things come together, and then again, with coming together, again, there's change. By experience something, then again, the previous karma, whatever is being changed, cleansed, purified, whatever, those change happens because of, dependent arisings, because of this relative conventional nature of things, because of relative conventional nature of the things, and which is like illusion, like all this relative conventional phenomena or reality is like the illusions, even there is no inherent existence, but due to certain cause and conditions, then there's certain functioning and certain effect, and that continue. And even though that is happening, continue, even though is dependent arisings, cause and conditions, but to our mind, it appears as inherent existence, and therefore those functioning are like a illusory, like illusions, like a dream. Yeah?
Right. So when we don't see it for what it is, we hang on to it, and that's when we suffer. Is that
Yes.
we continue to think that this is a constant state.
Yes, and that is when we believe, yeah, is a kind of inherent existence that is as inherent and permanent, and we suffer more. Something bad is happening in my life or our life, and when you believe that bad thing, the bad situation, the events, the situation, that painful or bad thing that is happening, you believe that is an inherent existence. If you believe that is inherent, permanent, then you are going to be more disturbed by that. You are going to be, more pain. You are going to feel hopeless. You are going to feel all these kind of all the many negative thoughts, feeling that come through that. But when you believe is a impermanent, is a dependent arising, it will change. It is not going to be all the time when cause condition is. Then even though it's painful for the moment, but you wouldn't have that kind of feeling so negative and very strong negative about that, because you see change will happen, change is coming. It's not going to be the same all the times. So definitely that can help to release the negative feeling or bad feeling towards that. Also, when we understand these are all non like illusions, like a dream, and non-real existence, not truly existence, also you have less aversions, less anger towards the situations, towards the create that situations. And if you do that, if you have less aversions, less dislikes, less anger, then you create less negative karma. And then again, you don't have to repeat that again and again, because we experience such event and we go through that, and again, because of not understanding the emptiness, then again we believe, oh, there's inherent existence bad persons who's creating problem for me, and there's strong clinging and grasping. On the basis of that strong clinging and grasping, then there's strong aversion and dislike and anger. And due to that, then again, just having those negative thoughts, we already create some negative karma. And then on top of those negative thoughts, then we act them through, physically or verbally or mentally or all of them. And by doing that, we create more negative karma. And we create negative karma to continue that situation again to happen in the futures. And so we don't have to repeat that again, such actions, and create the same negative karma if we stop doing that. And that can be done again if we have realization. So if we understand it's just like illusions, and we remind ourselves, and if we have realization, even we don't have realization, we try to remind ourselves of that and meditate on that, and through that, and reduce the feeling of a strong dislike, strong anger, and then create less negative karma, and so that we don't have to repeat the same condition again in the futures. Okay.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Geshe Sherab, may I have one very last question?
Can you keep it short? Yeah.
I can save it up for another time. It's not important. I can do it another time.
So you can ask if it's short, depending on.
Yeah, I think it's short. In the prayer that says about brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra, that prayer, do they have courage because they have to face something that is it seems to exist from its own side, and it seems very real, and you need courage to face that and to practice to know that it doesn't exist in the way it seems to exist? Is that why courage is needed?
Well, I mean, it is needed to practice the Bodhisattva path, or Bodhisattva's path or actions. Because when we enter in the Bodhisattva path, and when we try to take the Bodhisattva vows, or when we do the bodhicitta, we make determinations or promise and commitment to liberate all sentient beings, regardless how they are good or bad to us, whether they are nice or not nice. Regardless of that, we are going to help them, we are going to free them, we are going to benefit them. Even it needs eons and eons to help one sentient beings. So we make all of that. So you have to be very courageous to be able to do that. And therefore, the Bodhisattvas are some most courageous beings you can think of. And so therefore, definitely, I think that is where it is used. The Bodhisattvas are the most courageous and brave persons.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And dedication prayers.
Inyo Lama Tsongkhapa Do Chi Ma Le Pa Sala Gwe Parasho Sho Sem Sho Rinpoche Ma Ke Pa Na Ke Kyo Che
Kewa Nyamba Me Paya Gong Le Gong Tu Pewa Shio.
Long life prayer for His Holiness. Gangri
Lawe Korwe Shinkam De Endan Dewa Malu Choe Chere Se Wa Tenze Yaso Ye Shabe Site Pato Tengyo Chi.
Prayer for the swift return of Lama Tsongkhapa. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Vajraga Buddhas, victorious Losang, Father and Sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge on infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You hold the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples.
Ayata Be Kanje Maha Be Kanje Kanja Samoga De So Ayata Be Kanje Maha Be Kanje Kanja Samoga De So Ayata Be Kanje Maha Be Kanje Kanja Samoga De So. So we dedicate for the quick and complete recovery of His Holiness from the knee surgery, and also for all those who are recovering from their illness, and for everyone who have passed away.